And to talk about the horrific Chibok abduction that happened 10 years ago, I'm joined live on the news by Chairman, Northeast Civil Society Network, Ambassador Ahmed Shehu. Good afternoon. Glad to have you join me.
Good afternoon. It's nice to be here.
Now, it's 10 years since the horrific Chibok abduction. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, it is a very unfortunate incident, especially for us people from the northeastern part of Nigeria, considering that upon all the effort that are being made toward ensuring that people enroll their children to school, and then we at least shake up these indices that we are backward in education. So for us, I think this is like one step forward and 10 steps backward to us, because it has really destroyed all the successes that is recorded toward ensuring that the people were encouraged to go to school, especially the girl child. So the incident is actually regrettable, and it is a backward a setback to the people in the Northeast in particular, and Borno State in general.
Well, Mr. Shehu, reports indicate that out of 276 of the girls abducted, 128 regained freedom, and then 91 still remain missing. What do you think needs to be done to ensure freedom of those still in captivity?
Well, actually, I have to start by commending the effort of all the stakeholders in ensuring that these girls were brought back to join their families. I think this shows that there are efforts that are put on ground. But I think there are a lot of also lessons that needed to be learned, that we can be able to replicate. It can be able to ensure that these ones were brought back, especially looking at the back to history when it started from denial, when the then government did not even agree that the incident happened, and then later people agreed that it happened, and then a lot of engagement has started. I think for us as a civil society that are involved in peace building and this process of reintegration, are very confident that the remaining one will even be reunited by their with their families, considering the recent repentance coming back to the community and a lot of cooperation being gotten from those that are already in the bush. So what we needed to do together is for a holistic approach, where we now have to design a process when all these wounds that have inflicted on the communities are being cautioned, and then people will get the confidence and even the repentance that already will now cooperate toward ensuring that the remaining are returned back to their families.
Well, we understand these unfortunate incidents happened while these children were in school. You talked about lessons. I mean, going forward, how can we ensure safety and security of children in schools?
Well, thank God, I think this incident, in another way, it has brought some development to the educational sector, especially from us, the civil society and other stakeholders that are involved in coming up with this safe school declaration. Currently, there is a document that every government in the national and subnational level need to make use of them toward ensuring that these schools are made safe. I think looking at the history also, in the Northeast here, most schools are located in a place where it is not even safe for people to go to school. But considering the serenity of the environment, this is how all of us attended the school. But with this development now, I think the Safe School Declaration, of which Nigeria is a signatory, needs to be revisited, so that all schools must put this protocol of ensuring that these children, while they're in school, have the protection that they so desire. And I think this is even reflected in the various budgets that are being enshrined in the educational system and others. So I think gone are the days when we just send our kids to school and ensure that the teachers protect them. No, even the teachers require this protection. So that protection should come in many ways. The teachers need to be sensitized on what do they need to do when there are these red flags. The same thing applies to the environment. Is it serene? Is it safe? Is it secure also? Then the children also need to be educated on what are the response mechanism. What are they supposed to do when they come across this kind of a situation? I'm sure by now most schools have gotten this knowledge. So what I'm trying to say here is we're still advocating for government toward ensuring that they improve the budgetary allocation to the education, while allocating a substantial amount to safety and security of people, so that people will get the confidence that their kids are going to school, not only to study, but to study in a safe and then serene environment.
Well, I mean, following this incident, we have seen a number of cases where abduction happened in school. Recall the case that happened in Kuriga in Kaduna State, and also in Western Nigeria, where children were abducted, abducted in schools. What does this mean for our security architecture in Nigeria, having a repeat of school children being abducted even after this incident of the Chibok, incident?
Well, I think we need to start holding people accountable for their negligences. This is only when we do this, then people will start being transparent and accountable in discharging their own responsibilities. The community has a role to play. And as I mentioned here, the self-skill declaration is a document that is very holistic, that has the process of what needed to be done before, during, and then the after of such incident. So what I'm calling on here is all of us, we need to come together to work as a community toward ensuring that we make the school safer. The government also need to learn from the various lessons. When these incidents are happening in Zamfara and then other northwestern part of Nigeria, I'm expecting them to come back to Maiduguri, Borno State, to learn about what happened. What are those negligences that encourage this to happen? And when it happened, what are the processes that we need to learn from that to ensure that it doesn't happen somewhere else? As you know, in Nigeria, sometimes the way we do our things is very funny. We tend to neglect the lessons, and we don't even accept the lesson. And we only respond to situation instead of us to be proactive in designing that such doesn't happen at all. So what I'm advocating for here is to set up all these necessary mechanisms to ensure that such a thing do not happen. And when it happens, people will also have to be held accountable. Not only holding people accountable also, then what are the processes? We need to check our system. You can see a video of some bandit being celebrated, having their own Eid prayers, and then is there in the social media. So it baffles me on what happened to the system that we have on ground. What happened to the issue of giving information to the securities? And then the securities, when they have this response, what do they do with this information that they have this in community? So there's need for all of us, as we celebrate these 10 years of these Chibok girls, to sit down and reflect what happened, and then how do we ensure that as a country such a thing do not happen in the future. And currently it is continuously happening, and that is really taking us back to people, while people will start losing confidence about sending their kid to the school. Now in this environment, you see, having model school, everyone will be more comfortable to allow their kid to go and then come and spend the night at homes, instead of what we do, how we studied, and we go to boarding school to spend 3 months because we know that we are secure then. So I think it needs a holistic approach where all of us, we need to be in the table to provide solution to this.
Well, indeed, a holistic approach and also a lasting solution to this issue of abduction in Nigeria. Thank you so much for your time. Ahmed Shehu, Chairman at Northeast Civil Society Network. Thank you so much for your time on the news.
It's my pleasure.